Hey folks, Ray from DCGrammatic.com here. Today I'm here to give you a bit of a review of the new Polar A370. And I've been testing it for a while, and it's something I've got kind of a good grip on how well it works, what's different about it compared to the A360 that came out about a year and a half ago so now. And I'm kind of dive into it in the review here. So I'm going to walk you through some of the basic new features, and then I'm going to give you a step-by-step of the entire wearable itself, so kind of walking through all the new features and how it all works. With that, let's dive into it. So let's start off and talk about what's new and unique on the A370. And it basically comes down to four things. The first is you have continuous heart rate on the back. So you see that green light right there? That's going to sample my heart rate 24/7. Now in the past, Polar's never done this on any other wearable. So this is sort of their first foray into doing continuous heart rate. Of course, continuous heart rate isn't new to the industry. Fitbit and Garmin and others have been doing it for years now, but it is definitely Polar's first shot at it. And it's something that you'll see other Polar watches do down the road. For example, you're going to see the M430 that was released a couple weeks ago get this update later on this year in the fall time frame. So it's definitely cool to see. The way it works with the A370 is that it samples every 5 minutes by default. So it's going to sample that heart rate, it's going to turn on this optical sensor, find that heart rate and record it and allow you to see it later on the app itself. It'll also go to a higher recording rate when you're in a workout, either one that you manually set or one that it believes when you're in a workout. So for example, if I were to start running right now, this watch would think I'm in a workout and it'll go ahead and actually increase the heart rate sampling rate to capture that data in higher fidelity, which is pretty cool. The second new feature that we've got here is the ability to rebroadcast that heart rate. So another new thing that Polar has not done in the past, which is to take the optical heart rate on the back here and rebroadcast it out so other devices and other apps can access it. In this case, it does that on Bluetooth Smart. In the past, Polar's done some Polar relay stuff with your heart rate. So like the V800, for example, could take the heart rate from your heart rate strap from here or go to here and then from there onto another device. But that was only within the Polar ecosystem and it didn't generally work all that well. So what they're doing here is they're allowing you to broadcast out across standard Bluetooth Smart, which allows apps such as Zwift or Wahoo Fitness or Mount My Fitness or anything you want out there to go ahead and capture that heart rate data in any format you want. One minor note about that though is that does not work in conjunction with the workout mode. So it's either a workout that you're capturing that data in the app itself on here, or it's broadcasting out in kind of like a standalone mode that is not in the same time as a workout mode. So just be aware of that. I'll show you that in the hands-on piece in a second. The third new feature here is the improved sleep tracking. And it's actually pretty cool. It'll go ahead and give much more data than Polar has in the past on their wearables for your sleep data, and it's going to use some of the heart rate data as well to talk about resting heart rate while at sleep compared to resting heart rate in the daytime, just as you're awake and things like that. So that's pretty cool. No one else is doing that today, where they separate out resting heart rate figures from day and night, which is actually pretty valuable, and I'll talk about that in a moment as well. The fourth new feature here is the connected GPS. It's something actually what Fitbit technically calls it connected GPS. Polar doesn't really have a fancy name for it. But that basically means that you can take your cell phone and this will leverage the GPS on your cell phone when you're out doing activities outdoors to get track information as well as speed and distance. So certainly you could use the accelerometers on this when you're running or you're walking to go ahead and get that speed and distance. But if you're cycling, for example, you would be out of luck on the A360, whereas now with the software update, this is going to use Bluetooth Smart, connect your phone and use that GPS signal while you're out and about. In my testing, it's worked out pretty darn well. So it's something that it's great if you don't want to make that leap to a full GPS wearable. This sort of bridges that gap. And that's really it. So those four features are the four new things on this compared to the A360. They are all software features. There is no hardware change on this at all. And so far as Polar's telling us anyways, and I'm not seeing any hardware changes either. Still using the same micro USB connector on the back to charge it. That is waterproof though, so you don't have to worry about that, but it's right there on the back of the unit. And in general, I'm seeing about 3 to 3.5 days on a charge, depending on how much workouts you're doing outside and things like that, that may be using that Bluetooth connection and doing higher recording rates of the heart rate signal there. It's not as long as some of the wearables like a Fitbit or a Garmin that don't have the pretty display screen there. On the flip side, it's better than something like an Apple Watch, which is 1 to 2 days. You really are balancing this screen, which is what kills battery life, and any nice screen, whether it be an Android Wear device or an Apple Watch, with having a wearable that may have a smaller screen, not as pretty, but goes much longer. So you got to kind of decide if that trade-off's for you. With that, let's go ahead and I'm going to give you a walkthrough of the menus itself. I'm going to kind of go through all the features, allow you to see how they work, and then we'll wrap things up. Okay, here we are with the A370 in our hands. The first thing you'll notice is it's actually turned off, and that does that by default. The screen will always be off unless you raise your wrist up. It detects that wrist raise, or you press this little button on the bottom right there on the left-hand side that turns on the display. The display is going to show you your progress towards your daily goal, kind of filling up like a fish tank. In this case, I've already exceeded my daily goal, so you see at the top. I can go in and change this screen by just holding down real quick here. There we go, and now I can change sort of the default watch faces. For example, you know, you see the date and time, of course, shown, and some of the options that I have here. And you can see how that would look if I hadn't yet hit my step goal for the day. It would be kind of partially filled there. So in any case, I'm going to go and scroll down through here. My Day. What My Day is going to show you is your overall day timeline, essentially. It's sort of like a Facebook timeline, but for your day. I'm going to start at the very beginning. So this is the new sleep data right there. So you can see, for example, that I had 6 hours and 25 minutes of sleep. If I go and click on that, you can see 5 hours and 51 minutes of that were continuous. So about a half an hour of that was not continuous, probably because we've got a little baby, and that's why. So you can see there, it gives me the time I fell asleep, the time I woke up. If I go down, the feedback on the sleep itself, I can also rate the sleep. I rated it well, which seemed optimistic for me, so that was good. And this data is all then shown on the app as well, so you can see that later on there too. So that's kind of the overview of the sleep. If we go back to the My Day timeline, up at the top there's that wake up time again. I scroll down, this is the workout I did this afternoon, just a simple 5K run, so I can tap on that, and I can then go dive into that workout itself. Probably tap a little bit tougher. So you can see the start time there, the duration, average heart rate, max heart rate, the training benefit as categorized by Polar, the heart rate zones shown there. I go down to calories, my average pace, my max pace, the distance. This came from GPS since it was a GPS-based workout. And I can click back again to get back into the My Day timeline. Then I go down again, and you'll see where my steps are for the day. So right now, this is sort of my step totals. And it's going to tell me I've exceeded my goal for the day. I'm at 120% last time I checked. Yep, 129. I reached my goal for the day. So it's kind of giving me that a little bit of motivational push there. You can see I've got 6,449 steps on 2,176 calories. And then I just hit it again, sorry. So every time you hit this, it launches this little goal thing, which honestly is a little bit annoying. But this in the very bottom there will show me how many inactivity alerts I get. So inactivity alerts is when you're sitting too long, it'll basically prompt you to go ahead and do something that's not sitting, so not lazy. And then finally, the resting heart rate piece. And this is really cool here. So you've got your minimum resting heart rate at night, that little icon there. And sorry if I'm moving a little bit. It's really damn cold outside right now. You got your minimum during the daytime. So minimum at night is 40, my resting heart rate, and minimum daytime is 46. And the maximum today is 176 during that workout doing some intervals. So we'll go back now out to the main page here. I've got the training options. This is where I can go ahead and load up a given workout. So you'll see right there, it's going to try to find my heart rate. If you flip it over, you'll see that optical heart rate sensor on the back is now illuminated green, finding my heart rate, put my finger on the back of it, that usually will do the trick. And then down below, GPS is using that from my smartphone. So once it's illuminated solid like that, that means it does have the GPS signal from my smartphone there. If I were to go ahead and tap this, it would start this activity. And these are some of the screens I've got here, right? My heart rate, the current time. I can scroll down and see the time again, my minutes and miles. If I was running, in this case, I'm standing still. You can see the distance, my pace, the time of day, calories. The heart rate zones will show there as well. And what I'll do right now is I'll overlay some of the data from my run, or some of the video from my run, sorry, so you can see what that looks like while I'm running along right there. So you can see, you can swipe through these. This does work well in the rain. So in today's case, it was really rainy out, really crappy out. Also works just fine with gloves during workout. So I tested that as well this weekend when I needed some gloves. It's just really cold out. So all this, no problems there with any of this stuff. When I'm done, I can simply go ahead and press this button left-hand side there. Brings me to the screen. I can hold this down to stop it. And then I can save that workout right there. In this case, I'm going to dismiss it, but it's all pretty straightforward. What is cool about the Polar wearable device here, the A370, is that it does include custom workouts. So I can go to favorites here, and I can get my different workouts I have. These are all different kind of structural workouts I made on Polar Flow. I can tap them. I can then assign them to a sport. So I'm going to go try to find my run sport here again. Where is it? Down here somewhere. Lots of sports. As you can see, by the way, there are a lot of sports here you can do. You can customize all these on Polar Flow, which is pretty cool online. So there's road running. You see this icon up here, which now implies that it is going to do that workout, that custom workout. And as I tap this and it starts this, it's going to tell me the interval run started, and it's going to be my first instruction. I'm inside sort of right now, so there we go, GPS signal found again. And then that first instruction is the warm-up for 10 minutes in this structural workout. So kind of cool. Again, no other wearables in this device, or no other band wearables anyways, in this price range offer that. So it's neat to see that here offered. Click on stop and go ahead and reset this again. Get back to the main menu. So again, scrolling down, that's favorites we talked about. My heart rate simply activates the heart rate sensor on the back. So if you just want to check your heart rate randomly really quick, it turns that on the back and finds out heart rate. Pretty straightforward, a lot of wearables have that. And then finally settings, and there's really not a lot in here. So the heart rate, continuous heart rate options up at the top there. Airplane mode, do not disturb mode for night. And this is the broadcasting that I talked about earlier. So I can go and tap that right there. It'll then use this as a heart rate sensor so I can start broadcasting. And then what it's going to do is going to find my heart rate just like the other modes. And then this icon down here means it's broadcasting to an application or any other device that I want to that recognizes the standard Bluetooth smart heart rate device profile, which is pretty nice. So the one catch is you cannot use this in the same time as a workout. So you can't like go back. As soon as I try to go back here, it says to stop. And I've got to stop it then if I want to go back and start a workout separately. So last but not least, in the settings options here, if you scroll all the way down, we've got to power it off. We can toggle and repair the Bluetooth sensors right there. And then I can look at here, just some general information about the band. So it's Polar A370, it's registered to my account, device ID, firmware level, and just kind of the FCC stuff that they now allow to put in the menus as opposed to on the device itself. So that's a quick look at the menus of the A370. Okay, last but not least, I'm going to show you what the resting heart rate looks like for both the workout pieces as well as... Okay, so last but not least, I'm going to show you what the app looks like for both the resting heart rate as well as the workout pieces. You can see here my resting heart rate for today, so my low right now, it hasn't finished syncing out things, so it's 40 for nighttime and 46 for daytime there. And then I've got 176 as my max for the day. If I slide to the right, you can actually see it just goes right to yesterday. 41 for nighttime, 37, 142. I can hover over this any point and I can see what I was doing. So for example, activity intensity was low right there. If I go to the right, I find sitting, and you can see it drops down resting, for example, 42 beats per minute at 9:36 a.m. I can keep on scrolling to the right, and then right as I go off to over here, this is where I had to charge it yesterday for about an hour and a half or so, and that's where you'll see it says not worn, so it actually knows that's not being worn. And then I resume and start using it again, and here's into activities here, and then you see much higher levels, 117 and so on. This is a bit of a walk I did last night. I can scroll again to the left. Let's see here on Friday, here's a higher intensity workout. You can see as I go up to 170 right there for that data right there, and that's showing you that it was inside of an activity, so high activity data. It's pretty cool stuff, and I can then go to the week and see that same sort of detail on the week level as well, and to see what I was doing each day and how things break out. So I'm going to go show you what it looks like now on the training piece. I'm going to find today's 5K workout that I did, just kind of a simple 5K run there. And I open this up and you'll see the summary total, so the duration, my distance, heart rate, calories, my minimum heart rate in the run, my maximum heart rate in the run. And as I scroll down here, you'll find the graphs of that. And then finally, you'll find the actual map itself, and it's pulling this up from, there we go, the cellular signal there. And you can see in this case, I can't change it to a satellite view, unfortunately. I wish I really could, because this is off in parkland, so you can't really see anything otherwise. You can change that on the Polar Flow website, though. But so you do get the track here, and again, this is coming from the GPS on your phone, which is definitely a nice touch, something that Polar's never done before in any other wearables, and even something that Garmin doesn't do on their lower-end wearables either. So only really Fitbit does this, which is cool to be able to use this track and just be able to do this on a cheaper device. And then finally, we've got the sleep piece here. This shows me more detail about my sleep. So you can see my actual sleep last night is 5 hours, 51 minutes with 34 minutes of interruptions. I went to sleep at 1:52 a.m., woke up at 8:17 a.m. I can swipe left and right and get kind of that same detail or same level of information in other formats. This little circle graph. I slept well is what I went ahead and checked myself. I can go down and see all the detail there. I can look at the data over the course of the week here. So let me just switch over to this. There we go. The only bummer with this view is I can't actually see the previous week. So today is a Monday, so I can only see the first day. There isn't any method that I know of to go back and show the previous week, which is too bad. You can't really scroll left or right or anything like that. So it's just kind of the current week, which is sort of a bummer. Okay, with that, thanks for watching. Go and whack that like button down below as well as the subscribe button. There's plenty more sports technology goodness on the way. Also, don't forget to check out the full in-depth review in the description link down there. That talks to all the detail I talked about here, but also goes into more depth on the accuracy pieces. I've got data sample sets there, tons more photos and text and all the goodness you could ever want on the A370. Have a good one.